Okay, I am Cris Mann, a member of Kansas City Greens. And about 2 weeks ago, Daniel and I interviewed Ira, who's a member of the Kansas City community, and he was a longtime peace activist. And I sort of changed the subtitle here for today because after the interview, we found out his organization is abbreviated as broccoli. So have you had your broccoli today? And we're going to explore when peace intersects with environmentalism. So Daniel and I asked interview questions of Ira, who, as I said, lives in South Kansas City, and he was a longtime peace activist with American Friends Service Committee. So how did the conflict he found himself in begin? With the city officials? That was one question we asked. How did your neighbors react? And do you think the conflict brought people closer together? So the lessons that Ira answered from that was that the issue united people, which was the desire to save the forest, which was around all the residential houses. And there were some activities such as that sort of brought the neighbors closer together, such as a monthly trash pickup and a bonfire. But the overall lesson to draw from his experience was that people really wanted to save the forest area around their house. And we're talking about 93 acres. So what happened? What was the conflict? Developers wanted to purchase land and have the land, which was mostly forest, rezoned as an industrial area. And the first company, there were two companies involved. The first company wanted to put a huge warehouse and trucking complex there, and they called it a logistics warehouse. The opposition to this was so strong from the neighborhood that the company eventually backed out of this whole proposition. A second company called the project a business park, which is a little more, friendly. And on top of that, this was supposed to be a speculative business park, meaning that there was no actual companies other than the owners that were going to build this big warehouse. And so Ira said it was a build it and they will come concept, which meant they really had no plan for it. And was the second company sneaky? Was it, what was the sneaky company's plan? Well, there's processes in place to talk to neighbors about changing your residential zoning. So the second company, which was the sneaky company, they had more secret conferences than notifying the public. But broccoli, being of high energy that real broccoli holds, they found out where the secret meeting was being held. And broccoli, being the proactive group that they were, armed themselves with principles and walked into the meeting. Their strategy, if they had gotten known as troublemakers or something and being asked to leave, was simply to stand and read a statement that they had written. So what happened next? Ira says that the meeting was resoundingly not Quakerly. If you know Ira, he has a Quaker background and very peaceful, very soft-spoken. And the people overwhelmingly just started questioning the plan, the new plan, to show the opposition. And then someone asked for the people to stand, whoever is against this plan, and most people stood up. Simple action. The community saw, because they lived in the area where the forest was, they saw that property values would go down. There would be unacceptable light and noise from the trucking warehouse, and trees would be cut down, and residential roads would have to be widened, and runoff from destroying the trees would occur. So what could Broccoli do next? When Daniel and I interviewed Ira, at that time, they did not know if the second company would go through with the rezoning of the area and actually beginning cutting down the trees and building the warehouses. So Broccoli again was proactive and looked into classifying the area, 93 acres of forest, as a conservation area with walking trails. And Ira noted that it is adjacent to the Blue River watershed and would become part of it. There's a catch though. The only problem with this is that to do it, it would cost the citizens $5 million. But them being proactive again, they checked into the matching available funding, and that number is reduced to only $1 to $2 million. That's a lot of bake sales and car washes. So at that point, we did not know what would happen. And the process of all this is slow and evolving. But I asked Ira, what have you learned from this process? And he stated basically 4 lessons: that people can affect change in their communities by acting collectively. He and the others are learning about the processes and procedures that are in place and knowing how to use them to your advantage. There are resources out there to help people to affect change in a positive way. And not taking action can result in environmental distress for communities. And there's a couple of cautions from Broccoli. Do not trust corporate plans. Any of those plans can be undone. Sometimes the numbers of people matter in a struggle. And it's important to develop relationship with local council people or people that can be helpful on your side. And then an overall one is help where you are. This sort of just fell into Ira the peacemaker's lap because of who he was in the past. He saw that as a sign to help when something comes right to you. So we ask, what do you say when people say that you are stopping progress for business and jobs? And we ask, how does this struggle fit into your activism past? And I have a 4-minute video here, audio that I hope will play.
Are usually very illusory. And so, you know, the damage done to the watershed, to increasing flooding, to increasing the temperatures of the area. Right now, the forest is reduces the you know the heat of concrete and solid reflective surfaces, or flat reflective surfaces. So there's all kinds of benefits that the green infrastructure provides that will be eliminated, and the promise of jobs or other benefits are unlikely and uncertain. So I think development in places that are already have lost their um, ecological value is something that could be done if we need that um, that facility. But in this case, this facility isn't needed. It's in the wrong. It's proposed for the wrong space. It's next to neighborhoods and has just multiple negative consequences and effects on the community. And I think you mentioned that property values would be one of the problems that would be caused, as well as with all of these semi trucks moving in the neighborhood, damaging the roads um, and requiring additional maintenance, more frequent maintenance. Well, I don't know that it was ever zoned agricultural because it's been forested. Um, but well, we propose maintaining the zoning at this point. If it was to be, if it was purchased as a conservation space, then I think there is a conservation zoning that would be appropriate. And having it be zoned residential and having it be used for conservation, that is not inconsistent, or there's no legal problem with that. The city recently unveiled a proposed climate reduction plan or climate resiliency plan. And so that's, I think, up for public comment right now. Preservation of forests and green spaces is a important part of that. I don't know if this answers your question. I think I remember reading a book by Ram Dass some years ago, and it was, I think the book title was How Can I Help? And one of the principles of that was, help where you are. So it's like if something where you are is presented to you to do, rather than looking to help far away, um, you know, do what's right in front of you. So that's part of this. Um, and this isn't as crucial to me as the people that live right next door to this property. Um, I may not be, if this were to happen, if this development was to happen, I might not be aware of it, every day that this was going on, but my neighbors would. And so anyway, so it came to me it came to me. Um, I had some experience, and the experience could be useful, and so I joined the effort.
Okay. I forgot to tell everybody, broccoli stands for Blue Ridge Area Quality of Life Initiative Facebook page. Okay, so it's Blue Ridge Area Quality of Life Initiative. So that's how they got broccoli.